Hello and welcome to the Football League Files. This is the show where we delve into the United archive to show you matches you've probably never seen before and probably forgotten as well. We're going to go all the way back to April 1972. It's United's last home match of the season against Stoke City. It's the end of Frank O'Farrell's first full season in charge, and it's a pretty tough time for the football club.
Going on the near post for the cross. Davis is further over. Gets the header. Davis gets it in. Ron Davis following it in. Again for Clyde. Best header, and it's found it. Beautiful ball for Bell. Here it is. The ball to Brooking. Brooking has made a space, and he scores.
So then it is April 1972, last match of that season. It's United at home to Stoke City. Delighted to be joined by Jimmy Greenough. Jimmy, you're going to be waving the Stoke flag here, of course, today. And Alex Stepney is with me too. Now, Alex, just set this one in context, shall we, about how things were under Frank O'Farrell and coming towards the end of that season.
Yeah, it was strange, Jim, because what happened was when Frank came in at the start of the season, I think there'd been a few sort of press things that other managers were going to take over. But Frank came in and incredibly done a fantastic job up to Christmas. We were 5 points clear at Christmas. Don't forget, it was only 2 points for winning those days. We beat Southampton 5-2. And then, for some unknown reason, we didn't win games after that. And I think Derby went on to win the title. But Martin Buchan didn't come till the end of March, when the transfer window closed. So we could have done with him before. It might have been a different story.
And Jimmy, you playing at Stoke City under that marvellous manager Tony Waddington.
Yeah, I mean, still revered even to this day. And yeah, Waddo, easy to play for. Just wanted to go out, let you play the game, entertain the public, and obviously what a better place to come to. He loved playing against Manchester United. Great friends with Sir Matt Busby, you know.
And what was it like for Stoke City to be coming to Old Trafford? Was it as intimidating a place as it is today?
No, not for the players there. They all wanted the big time, and Stoke also was starting to get in the eyes on things. They just won the League Cup final, 2 semi-finals, FA Cup. No, they relished the big time, and no bigger stage than Manchester United for the Stoke players.
You played a load of matches against Stoke City that season, Alex. Can you remember how keen the team were at least to end the season with a smile, especially after falling away at Christmas?
Yeah, we had to. I mean, because it's your supporters. The supporters here are absolutely fantastic, and the crowds that we used to get, week in, week out when we played at home was unbelievable. So you try the last game of the season. You're not winning anything, but you want to basically win the game.
And what was United's record like against your Stoke City team at that time?
Well, at that time it was okay, probably 50-50. But after that it became very much in favour of Stoke City. Me and Alex were talking earlier, and it was we had a lot of replays in cup matches, League Cup or FA Cup. But Stoke seemed to come out afterwards. Cheers,
guys. Well, that set the scene for you on the football pitch. Let's just find out what was happening away from it.
Things felt more depressed then, even though actually we're technically in a much deeper economic mire at the moment.
I was in feel something with the mine. I said, would you go down a mine, dark, wet, and get paid thumpings for it? You wouldn't do that. Would any human being do that? But they did.
Pride boast here, folks. I've interviewed every Prime Minister since Ted Heath in '72 to this day, including Cameron, and that, to save you doing the maths, is 8 Prime Ministers. So I've interviewed them all at length, several of them in Downing Street, including Mrs Thatcher, and I did Cameron shortly before I left North West tonight. So it's my pride boast. It all started in '72. So the Vietnam War was probably
the dominant international issue that was going on.
I don't think that America should have been there. It's not their country.
I can remember thinking, well, you know, what's this all about? You know, it's crazy, and lives have been lost. The reports every week where, you know, so many more had been killed. Couldn't really see the point about it, you know, but at the same time, again, I wouldn't be enough into that sort of thing to realise the necessity of that war in Vietnam. I just tend to think most wars are surely unnecessary, and the ones that have happened since have led me to believe even more that if you can avoid going to war, then it's doing everyone a big favour, isn't it?
Funny enough, the Vietnam War was something that I was interested in, if you like. You know, it lasted, I don't know, about 8 or 9 years, and Jane Fonda did all her campaigning, and so it was something that, although I wasn't that interested in a lot of news items because you're still at school, but that was something that stuck in my mind. You know, seeing all the bombs getting dropped over there and a lot of innocent people killed and injured and what have you.
I can remember, I have a fairly vivid memory of the didn't take part, but I can vividly remember through the media the protests that were going on here.
I had a family. How can I get a Beetle car? I mean, I remember George had the E-type Jag which sat 2 people. Could you imagine a footballer with a family getting like you could no, that was for all the yuppies in those days that wanted to be whatever they wanted to be.
Not sure I'd ever been in a Beetle. Never been into cars, to be honest, so wouldn't have much memory of it, but I've never had a Beetle. I don't think I've ever driven one.
But I have had experience of a Beetle, because when I worked as a young reporter on the East Antrim Times in Larne, I did have a car. I was, of the 3 young journalists who worked on this newspaper under an ageing editor, I was the only one who could drive and had managed to get a car on the HP.
I wasn't into my fashion, but I think everybody had the long hair, and if you show clips of the games back then, not just myself, but most of the players, that was the feature at the time, long hair. And I'm sure you've got a few pictures of me with a dodgy coat on, so I was well mention a dodgy coat, because I know that's coming, but you know, you do sheepskin coats, which again, if you owned a sheepskin coat, you know, you were doing well.
I'm not into clothes to a great degree, and you know that, seeing me most days in life. Funny enough, there was a lassie from Scotland, I can't think of her name offhand. She sang it before them, and she became the big, I can't remember her name actually, but I remember the song very well. Great song.
Well, it's a fantastic piece of music, and my daughter's called Grace, and I do play it on the bagpipes, although in fact partly because it got to #1. I think it's one of those tunes that pipers don't like to play that much because it feels a bit sort of showbiz. And whenever I'm out playing the pipes at different dues and what, somebody will say, oh, play Amazing Grace, I love Amazing Grace, which is fine. It's a very, very, very simple tune to play. It is a beautiful piece of music though. And I think it's fantastic when bagpipes get in the charts. I love it.
There we are, 1972 was the year, and you know, Alex, looking at those pictures, you sort of cringe at the sort of gear that we all used to wear in those days, but it was very fashionable then, wasn't it?
It was fashionable. I mean, the colours on his shirt was white, and if you had a tie on, the Windsor knot had gone out of fashion. Then it was the big wide tie and the big knot and the flowered shirts again. It was just something, and different colours, you know, and flares. Still, I think they might have still been in.
The whole bit. How important was fashion in the club at Stoke City then, Jimmy?
Definitely not. No, I mean, we were way behind the Manchester Uniteds and the Arsenals, etc. That, you know, I mean, we were kind of like, it was home from me, from Barnsley, you know, so it was kind of, you wear what's put out in front of you.
And listen, when you came here and played for Manchester United, when you left Stoke, did you notice a big difference in fashion-wise, the way people dressed? Was it important to cut a bit of a dash here where you could get away with things at Stoke?
I think the people round about the club, all the kind of what they call hanger-oners or whatever, I mean, they kind of were a little bit more. The hair was longer even than Georgie Best, the flares were wider than anybody else's. like Alex said. But yeah, everything was kind of, I don't know, the girls seemed to be a little bit more prettier as well.
But just on a serious point, you coming from Barnsley, you'd have felt that miners' strike, that first miners' strike, very deeply.
Yeah, very much so. I think Mum and Dad did more than anything, you know. I was kind of playing at Leeds at the time, and well, Leeds and Birmingham, and even Stoke. Yeah, they kind of, all their customers and all their friends were miners, etc., you know, and the wives were there, two were in the factories, and yeah, I mean, they had no money, and kind of everyone helped one another and buying one another half a dozen eggs and a bottle of milk to help them out. It was that bad. Cheers,
thank you very much indeed, Jimmy. The year was 1972, April 1972, last match of the season, then Manchester United against Stoke City. It's coming right up. Hello again, welcome back to the Football League Files. The year is 1972. It's Manchester United's last home match of the season against Stoke City. Both teams are in pretty shocking form, really. Stoke haven't won in the last 6 matches. They've lost 4 of those. And similarly, United have only won 1 out of 7. On the commentary gantry, it's Gerald Sinstadt.
The final league game of the season at Old Trafford brings together Manchester United and Stoke City. And as they're meeting for the 7th time this season, this promised to be not so much a league game or an old boys reunion. But Stoke have rather spoilt that by bringing a side which has been virtually decimated by injuries and by influenza. Ritchie and Dobing went down with flu overnight, so this is a pretty unfamiliar lineup. Another familiar face missing, of course, Gordon Banks keeping goal for England tonight, so Farmer is in goal, and 2 youngsters in the side. George Jackson, who is 19, came on for his first game as sub against Derby in the Texaco Cup in October. This is his 8th league appearance. Tommy Walker, wearing 8, also 19, the son of Tommy Walker, who used to play for Newcastle. This is his 2nd league game. Manchester United, a rather more familiar lineup, but 1 or 2 less experienced players there, particularly, of course, Tony Young, wearing number 6. Made his league debut back in September 1970 when he came on a sub for Tony Dunn at Ipswich, but his next appearance was not until the game against Liverpool earlier this month. Today, he makes his 8th appearance. So it'll be Manchester United in the white shorts who will kick off from left to right, defending the Stretford goal. Mr. Yates from Redditch is our referee. He gets the signal from his linesman that they're ready, and away we go. George Best turning it back for Tommy O'Neill. McElroy. Best again, with Young making a sprint forward. This is Ian Moore. Dunn. Buchan. Bobby Charlton. And now United with 7 men forward. That's aimed for Law's head, but got away by Blore. Best, Moore. Dunn. Scarcely a Stoke player touched the ball yet. Charlton! Well, we played 45 seconds, and I guess Manchester United must have hit about 15 passes, and it all finally comes to an end with that nod down. Bobby Charlton, a slightly lucky bounce off his chest, the defence standing back, letting him go, and that's 1-0 with now a minute and a quarter on the watch. Some unnecessary invading of the pitch by United supporters. Suddenly now finding their retreat cut off by the police, which is why there is a hold-up. They're looking for a gap to jump over the fence. They've finally been herded off in a corner, and so we'll restart. And this is very nearly the first kick of the ball that Stoke have had. 1-0 down. Marsh. Good overhead by Buchan. Walker back to Bernard. Jackson out of play. Well, if ever a side were caught cold, it was Stoke then. Law. Manchester United in these 6 previous games have not beaten Stoke this season. There have been 4 draws and twice Stoke won by the odd goal in 3. This is Young. He's got Stepney coming out to meet him. O'Neill. Young. Bobby Charlton. Looked as though it was set up for his left foot, but the gap didn't open. What now? Right foot. This time Farmer saves. Greenoff all on his own. McElroy. Best. On Marsh. Walker. James and Buchan there protecting Stepney. Moore's header for Best. Moore is outside him on his left. 2 feints and a shot, and he tries one, and Marsh was troubled by it. Twice George Best cocked his right foot. Twice the Stoke defence braced themselves for the shot, and when it came at the 3rd attempt, Farmer really was only able to smuggle it round the first United corner, and it's not been given for some reason. There must have been offside before it. Best. Buchan. Neil's pass cut out by Pejic. James. Young impressing the crowd with his coolness. Greenoff. Well to get in a shot there. Only had half a glimpse of the ball. Struck it quite well, but was forced to drag it wide. James to Charlton. Good break here. He's turned into trouble. If he'd been able to balance himself to go left, he might have got away from it. Moore to try now. Playing, looking for the 1-2. They've done it well. Involved in that. First time passing with great confidence. Watch how well they do it once it goes into the box from Moore. There's the first pass, the second from Law, and Moore finishing off his 5th goal of the season for Manchester United. Willie Stevenson lucky to get it back, and now Stoke trying to play it close in the area, and Stepney saves the corner. Pushed on by Charlton for McElroy. Moore taking charge again. Law. Best moving outside him on his right. Young just ahead. Moore there. They're all wanting the ball. Seeing goals to be had here. Pejic. Greenoff, and that was really struck by Jackson. Played off well by Greenoff in the first place. Charlton, McElroy, and Charlton again. Change of direction that dismissed Eastham. Law. Young. Dunn. Both full-backs have been frequently up in attack for United. Very little for them to do at the other end. Moore now. Side netting. But the ominous thing for Stoke was the way he just sold two defenders with no difficulty at all. Mike Bernard. Willie Stevens. Might well have shot then. It's a Stoke throw. Marsh beaten by Best. Charlton forward for Moore. And he's dangerous with these breaks from the halfway line, particularly with Best to distract the defence. And he's still going. He could score here. Great save by Farmer. But what a run by Moore. The defence really didn't know whether to go for him in case he slipped it to Best. And Best, simply by running, was a great help there to Moore. Solid tackle by Young. And Stepney saves it with his chin and his shoulder from going for a corner. Little private display down there for the benefit of the Stretford end who respond. The referee completely unimpressed, and he's now given the corner. Taking it on a signal from his linesman. Poor Alex Stepney, after all that exertion, really thought he'd saved it. Stoke's first corner then. Eastham. Good header by Jackson and off the line by O'Neill. Jackson got up well then. McElroy. Thank you very much, says Willie Stevens. Eastham, lovely change of direction that fooled James, and put out there by Tony Dunn, I think. Walker seemed to have the ball then, really looked as though it should have been his, and Tony Dunn came careering across to clear. Eastham. Jackson on his right, Walker just ahead of him, and Greenough. Just snatched away from Jackson by Stepney. It was a good save because Greenough really belted it. Greenough is one of only two players in this Stoke side today who scored goals in league football this season. It shows how much they've had to reconstruct the team. Pejic stuck to him well then. Best tested him twice with little feints, but Pejic wasn't deceived. This is United's fourth corner. And Law's head! And that's a penalty. Magnificent save by Mike Pejic, and it'll get him booked. And it would have needed something like that to get a player booked in this game. Referee left with no alternative at all. The instruction is quite explicit about this. It is technically cheating. That was a goal all over for Manchester United from a magnificent header and touched over, and that now gives Best the chance to score live now from the penalty. Sends Farmer the wrong way, no difficulty at all. 3-0 to Manchester United. George Best brings his total for the season to 26 with his second penalty of the season. As that's half-time, in they go at the end of 45 minutes of exhibition football, almost devoid of tackling, complete non-aggression pack between these sides, and that really suits a footballing team like Manchester United, and predictably the goals have come from the footballers, Moore, Charlton and from Best's penalty. Half-time then, Manchester United 3, Stoke 0.
Just an exhibition match for Manchester United. Final home game of the 1971-72 season, remember. 3-0 up at half-time. What will they do in the second half? We'll find out. You're back with the Football League files. It is half-time in April 1972. Manchester United's last home match of the season against Stoke. United are 3 goals to the good. Here's the second half with Gerald Sinstadt.
So for the second half, Stoke start with Lees, their substitute, on in place of Mike Bernard, and away we go with Stoke kicking off. 3-0 down to Manchester United. And since they knocked Manchester United out of the FA Cup, they've played 11 games and scored 7 goals, 2 by Ritchie, who's not playing today, 2 by Greenoff, they were penalties, and 3 own goals by their opponents. Stevenson for Lees, the substitute. Jackson to Marsh. Curled for Greenoff's head. Steve James was up with him. Bloor, Jackson, Bloor going on ahead of him, and that's Moore back covering. Tony Young is number 6 for United. Law getting it back from Young. O'Neill up in front. This is McElroy with O'Neill going ahead. No real sting in any of those tackles. Young for Bobby Charlton. Best. And there's the cross, and what a good save by Farmer. It was hit very hard and it was going away from him. Lees, good pass for Greenoff, but he was offside. Skeels playing it down very conveniently for Moore. Quarter of an hour of this first half gone. You could see Bobby Charlton measuring that pass, but so did Bloor. Eastham, Bloor keeping going. That's Stevenson. And this is Lees. Certain lack of anticipation there by Stoke. 3 against 3 now. Moore, Best and Law. On for Moore, and Buchan there too, and a fine save again by Farmer. Tommy O'Neill to Young. Buchan. Young once again for McElroy. Now Moore and Best. O'Neill on Best's right. Still Best. For 1-2, and Best wriggling round for it, and he couldn't quite get there before Farmer. Stevenson. Marsh, who spent a lot of this game up as an auxiliary forward for Stoke. Jackson. Stevenson. Jackson's cross. Tommy O'Neill got ahead to it. Charlton a long one for Best to chase, and I doubt very much whether Best was offside there. I suspect that that was one of those instances where Best's reflexes beat the best of linesmen, and he was on the move as Charlton's foot hit the ball, and that can very often deceive a linesman. Charlton. McElroy turning it for Young. And a beautiful pass from Young for Best. Best trying to come out of trouble, forced to play it back. There's no way ahead for him. Stoke now organised with plenty of people in defence. Charlton and Law sneaked round them, and a fine save again from Farmer. He's earned his money this afternoon. George Eastham. Referee spotted a foul. McElroy penalised. Free kick to Stoke. Greenoff. Well shielded by Walker. Stevenson. Dunn. Moore for Charlton. Law free wide out on the right. Play waking up again a bit. Best. For O'Neill. Tommy O'Neill could see his first goal coming there for Manchester United and got a bit overexcited. Banged it down the tunnel. Just to show that it's not quite as easy as perhaps it looks, the policeman couldn't kick it back into play either. So we've got just a little bit more than a quarter of an hour left. Greenoff for Jackson. Having his sleeve pulled by Buchan. McElroy to Best. Law. Best again. Young sprinting through. Best's chip, and it's come out to Charlton. Look wildly disappointed. Dunn to Charlton. Jackson. Eastham. Greenoff on his left. And Greenoff's run made space for Eastham. Stepney a good save. It was good running by Greenoff to open the gap up for Eastham. Gowling. Gowling gets it back by courtesy of Stevenson. Repays the compliment by giving it to Pejic. Moore. Gowling. Best. And Best shot turned over by Farmer. Hammer has had a busy afternoon and on the whole has coped very well. Walker in at the near post, but James too strong for him. Well, we've had a minute and a quarter over time. Jackson. Stevenson. This is Marsh. Pejic. And that could have been a goal. It really should have been turned in by Greenoff. Just started his slide a fraction too late. I think that Stepney might have taken a little sting off it to upset the timing of Greenoff. And Buchan put it away for the corner. Pejic. Stepney was off his line, trying to suggest that Jackson was offside. And that's the final whistle, the end of the league season at Old Trafford. A guard of honour of policemen to protect the players as the crowd swarm onto the pitch. And the end of a somewhat disappointing game, and indeed a disappointing season for Manchester United. Top of the table and 5 points clear at one time, and now reconciled to a season which will see them in the top half, but nothing very much more. So they go in today, victors over Stoke City by 3-0.
Disappointing season then for Manchester United. At least it ended well. United declaring at half-time effectively 3-0 winners against Stoke. Alex Stepney and Jimmy Greenoff are with me. Jimmy, I thought you were going to score at the end there. But
yeah, good goalkeeping.
Touched it away, didn't he?
It needs a good one to stop with.
Just a fingertip.
Yeah.
We've got loads to talk about. We'll see you shortly. It's the Football League files. We've seen a bit of an exhibition from Manchester United, really, the last match of the 1971-72 season, beating Stoke City, including Jimmy Greenoff, by 3-0. You looked a bit of a tired side that day, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think they won the League Cup and then that was it. The celebration hadn't stopped, so it showed we looked very unfit, men against boys, whatever you like to say. Just, you know, you didn't earn our wages, did we, that day?
And what you said at the start there, I mean, that you wanted to go out with a flourish after a disappointing season. You did it, and when Manchester United opened the scoring in the very first minute, I think I've counted one Stoke City player actually managing to touch the ball, Alex, before that opening goal for United. Yeah,
it was a great start. That's what you want, you know, last game of the season, and to score early on like that, it was fantastic. And the goals we scored, actually, I mean, don't forget, we've got Bestlaw and Charlton on the pitch. And,
yes.
And I think you find that Dennis was involved in all 3 goals, basically. But that's what it was about. I mean, look at that. That's Dennis, usual, finds Bobby, and Bobby puts it away.
And what a great partnership those two were. And Dennis with a finish that sort of header, wasn't it, really?
I mean, that's how they used to play. I mean, it was all about those 3 lads. I mean, you'll see some more when George scores as well. So,
Jimmy, can you remember your feelings when you've gone to Old Trafford and you think, well, we'll give it a good old crack, lads, and you're a goal down and one of your players has managed to get a header on it and nobody else?
Oh yeah, I mean, you go to Old Trafford obviously wanting to show do the business and what have you, but I think even the team sheets, when you kind of looked at both team sheets, probably deflated us more than anything there. And what I thought about the first goal, if you ever show it, I mean, all our players were going, no, after you, Bobby, after you, you know, and let us see a goal, you know, we see it on TV now, let's see it in real life.
The second goal, though, United scored, was a nice team goal, a lot of interplay in that. Was that the sort of stuff that Frank O'Farrell encouraged? Yeah,
I think he did. I mean, I think because of the way the season that basically had panned out, with the way Dennis Bay and Ian Moore come in, you know, I mean, Ian Storm would come in, and I mean, look, he just keeps on running, and Dennis is there again. He's put Ian through to score the goal.
There are good skills, those, even though you're watching him again to show on the sort of pitch you all took for granted. You didn't know anything else, did you?
Well, that's right. You just got on with it. I mean, nowadays we all talk about it, don't we? The foreign players especially. You've got to call the game off. We're not playing on that rubbish, but let's do it. And I think watching that game, how good Dennis Lowe was to me, he was just absolutely incredible. You know, just even like going in for rebounds off the keeper, which never came, but he was there. And myself as a forward, I'm looking for that.
And listen, rebounds off the keeper last match of the season, nothing at stake,
but
cruising.
Come neither, but he was still doing it.
He still went for it.
What all good habits, though.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, the last goal is very interesting for all sorts of things, isn't it? And we said how the game has changed. And there's a magnificent save from Mike Pedgick on the line on this one, isn't there?
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, that was Dennis Dawes' trademark, you know, headers from corners. I mean, what a fantastic header. And Mike, I mean, that's all he could do, really. But, I mean, that was the law in those days, you know. Today, he'd been sent off.
I think Gerald Sinstadt quite kindly described it as a technical foul, this by Pedgick on the line. I don't know what was technical about it, but George rolling in the penalty, and 26th goal of the season, and just a couple of penalties as well, and a bit like we said about Willie Morgan in another show. I think when he lined up to take the penalties, he never missed, did he?
George very rarely missed. I mean, but the amazing thing about it, Jim, was from my point of view, John Farmer was absolutely superb on the day. He kept the score down tremendously. But I've never seen a goalkeeper today with so much mud on him. You don't get that in the Premiership today.
No, yeah, and that rule with the old fullback on the line. I mean, there was no great ruckers, and the referee actually looked a little bit reluctant, didn't he, to say, "I'm really sorry, I've got to take your name here." When now there'd been ructions and a red card, wouldn't it?
Great save, Jim, wasn't it?
It was.
But as Alec always said, you put two players on the line, you can't do any more. Put them on the post. And what he's doing his job really. He wasn't the tallest of guys, Mickey Pedgick, so realised he couldn't head it over. So, in fact, if you look at it again, it kind of head goes as far as it could, and then the hands come up. But
and you wouldn't actually, in that situation, have done anything else, would you? And I'm not just sure these days you do anything else either, actually.
No, you just don't want it to go in the back of the net, and that was typical of Mike Pedgick, so the hands had to save it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you had a tough old time up there, didn't you, in this particular match? You had a very young, untried team. They'd obviously been celebrating. They obviously weren't that motivated. They let a goal in the first minute, but we looked very closely, the guys behind the scenes. We managed to dig out you doing one or two not bad things in this match, Jimmy.
Yeah, but then some of my best mates weren't playing, some good players weren't playing that day, and I mean, you've got to get on with it. But I mean, he played a couple of lads, did Tony, and that's how he was. Georgie Jackson and Tommy Walker, both Manchester United lads, Manchester United supporters. And last game of the season, well, we can't do anything, they can't do anything. Let me make the dream come true. Sure. So that's why he played those two lads.
It was a very fashionable haircut in those days. That one, I have to say, you'd probably swap it now, wouldn't you, if you could?
Hate it. You must think kind of like when Brian Robson looks at his curly hairs and all that, and do I wish I'd never had it? And I can't understand why I let it get so long. Looks horrible, doesn't it?
And this is the big moment right at the end. You must have thought you were in for one. And
I'm happy with that. I'd do that time and time again. I mean, Alex got a good hand on it, and he stopped me from scoring.
Martin done well there.
Flattering score, really.
And Alex, looking at you as well, and some of your moments that you thought you might have had a game with not too much to do, a 3-0 up at a half time, but you had one or two busy moments in that game. Wearing your white gloves, I noticed, which was that a little fashion statement as well we spoke about earlier in the show.
Jim, it was one of these silly things that the laundry ladies put them in bleach one day, and that's how they became white. And that was, I mean, but they weren't white after this match, after all the mud we were playing. But it was something that I just got used to, and I wanted to play with them. In
the right place there, that little George Easterman, he was a player, wasn't he?
He was a great player, wasn't he, George? And but you know, you can see how the game's changed differently. I mean, it's all about angles. Goalkeepers are about angles. Today, the ball can do so many different things, you know.
And here we are, the white gloves, with a crucial touch.
Not bad. Sorry, Jim.
I did look at you there in kind of disbelief, really. I thought Mickey Pedgick's hit it with good pace, and you make your run, and all it needs a tap in, but good hands, mate, good hands.
Yeah, there weren't too many words exchanged between you that we could see at that moment, but you've obviously gone on to...
Gosh, I mean, in those days, anyway, you just accepted it, didn't you? I mean, nobody kind of tried to get Mickey Pejic sent off, did they, or anything like that, Jim? Just get on with the game.
Well, let's just have a quick look, shall we, how that league table finished in the 71-72 season. Derby County were the champions. They're actually confirmed champions. I think they were all on holiday in Mallorca that they beat Leeds. Manchester United finished 8th. Stoke City finished 17th. And Nottingham Forest and Huddersfield were relegated. Guys, it's been absolutely great, fascinating, really enjoyed looking back. Jimmy Greenough and I accept me. Thank you very much indeed for your company.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim. Brilliant stuff. And not the best of seasons for Manchester United, not the best of times for Manchester United 1972, but at least they sent the fans into the summer with smiles on their faces and goals on their minds. Cheerio.